this chest that we modeled in class the other day, and we're actually going to just unwrap it today, and then we're going to get it ready so that we can put a texture on it. But for this session, we're only going to unwrap it, meaning we're going to flatten it out on a plane that we can use to edit our images with, to place it on it. So when we scan it, when we wrap it around this, the texture, the actual chest pictures, we can wrap it around this and it'll look more realistic. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is actually, I don't need the planes right now. I'm going to turn each of those off. I'm just going to select each plane, or you can click over here. You can turn each one off. And that's going to leave just our box. I do have it with default shading, edged faces, because I still need to see some of those lines right there for now. So the tool that we're going to use when we select the box, we see that we've got the edit poly on it. I'm actually going to just use the triangle to collapse that down, as I don't need to get confused with vertex, edge, polygon, because the tool we're going to add has those as well. So go to your modifier list and drop it down. You can type and it'll jump to Unwrap UVW, and that's the one that we're going to choose, Unwrap UVW. When we first do it, we see some green lines here. Those lines are the map or the main scenes that we see. So we don't want those to confuse us. So we're going to turn those off. So in my Unwrap UVW tool, I can drop it. I've got vertex, edge, polygon. So those are the tools, the items that we can edit. I'm going to scroll all the way down using the scroll wheel to where it says all the way down map seams. I'm going to turn those off and the green lines go away. We're going to leave peel seams because we do want to see those seams as we create it. This image, we're going to keep it fairly simple for just conceptual right now, so you can practice these skills. We're going to just break it apart into the top, the bottom, just the rectangle that's on the bottom, this right side, that shape, the opposite side, that, and then the sides here and around on the back. So we're actually going to break it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, which will keep it fairly easy for us for beginning. There is a chance that your model isn't going to unwrap as well as mine does, just because of a point here, a point there, some situations that come up when you're modeling. But the more you model, the clearer you get things. It's going to take practice to get it to where your points match up and your vertices and lines align, your edges align. Okay, so for this tool, we've got several choices. We can choose a vertex, I can choose an edge, I can choose a polygon. We're going to focus on edge and polygon because I need to select all of these edges around the bottom. So we're going to start just doing the rectangle that's around the bottom. We're going to go to edge, and we're going to make sure it's highlighted blue, and you're going to click. Also, it's kind of see-through right now. If you do Alt X, that'll solidify it up a little bit. If that makes it easier for you to see some of these, that's Alt X. We'll go to translucent or to make it more solid. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the first bottom. If you want to roll it like this so you can really see it, just that bottom edge. Then hold down Control and select the others. Now there is a tool that can help us sometimes, but don't rely on it. It's called the ring tool and the loop tool. The loop tool, if we select one edge and it's a nice clean defined loop, chances are it could select all of those, but notice how it did not. Now if you do this ring tool, look what it selected. It selected those going up. But since we don't have a nice clear defined ring around the bottom of this, which we really do, but that ring tool just can't see it, or the loop tool just can't see it. So we are going to have to select all of these by hand. Just all the 4 of them around the bottom. If you want to look at your view to see, you can see that they're there, all selected. I'm going to bring it back like this because we're going to go down here to the peel menu with the picture, the little spheres, and then the picture of the pelt there. And I'm going to select this third tool over, Convert Edge Selection to Seams. So we've selected some edges. Now let's convert to seams. And they turn blue. Okay. You've just made your first seam. And what that does is that's like on your shirt or your pants or whatever. It's a seam where if you unsewed it, it would be able to flatten out into the shape that it is. So let's do this side over here. It's a little bit more difficult because we've got this going up. We've got to kind of make sure that we're focusing on the ones that we want to. So the bottom seam's already done. So I can click that one that's going up. Now I could try the loop tool again. And you notice how it looped it up and around a lot of it, but not all of it. If we use the loop tool here, it doesn't do anything, but here kind of loops down. So the loop tool can help. Now if you want to kind of mass select, if you do choose this one and then use loop, it will go all the way up. You can hold control to select. You can now click and hold control and click the next one, and then click loop again, and it'll loop around. And so that's a pretty easy process, but you have to think about what it's doing and kind of double check that it did what you wanted. So click the first one, click loop. That middle one's not going to loop, so you have to select it manually. Then select another one, holding control down, select it manually. Hold control again, select that one, and then the loop will select all the way around. Now what happens if you mess up and let's say you accidentally selected that guy there, which you don't want selected. Hold down Alt and left click, and that will deselect a single one. Alt, left click, deselects. Now that you've got it marked, you can kind of look around. I'm going to make sure it's only that. And I'm going to click the line to the dotted line, the blue dotted again. Convert edge selection to seams. That's in your peel menu. And notice how it makes it blue. Now, if you want to make sure that you only selected those parts and maybe you didn't miss a seam, you didn't leave a hole in this, you can go to Polygon, then down right underneath in the peel menu, underneath the pelt, that will expand. If you click a polygon in here, you can expand to all of them that are in that blue seam. So you can clearly see that the only side that's selected is that left-hand side. Okay. Along the bottom, you really can't expand that because it's only one. If you click it, it just turns it off. So you don't have to focus on those. So we're going to do this other side, and we can use the same process. Hopefully, going to zoom in, get it centered. If you can zoom this out as much because you're not using those other 3 views for now. I'm going to go back to Edge, select this edge here because it's easy to grab because it's a big edge. I'm going to use the loop tool. It loops most of it, but I need to manually control click the center piece, control click that piece, and then I can loop this one again, and it goes all the way around. I know that the metal part back down there, we haven't selected it out, but I'm keeping this simple with larger pieces so when we unwrap this, we don't have some issues. So next step, once we've got it highlighted, we can use our edge to seam, selected edge to seam, turns blue. We are almost done because now I've got the whole left-hand seam, right-hand seam of this piece, and all I want to do is I'm going to select this edge and make it a seam. So now this whole piece has a bottom, a right, a left. If I select polygon, click any polygon inside, expand, it only expands that side. Okay. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. select the edge. We want edge selection. If you did this and you click that, you'd say, oh my gosh, there's a polygon there. I don't want that. I wanted an edge. So go to edge. And I chose the top one because of where the latch is on my picture. It really, as long as you're, you're going to practice getting copy and paste in to create these. And so you're not going to have a much issue with that. So I selected the edge, convert selected edge to seam, and there you go. So along the top here, now you still do have these green map seams. If you turn those back on, you'll see this little seam across there. Don't sweat that at all. We can fix that later if that break apart makes us need to. Okay, and so now I'm just going to go polygon, select this polygon. I'm going to scroll to find I'm going to scroll up, peel menu. I'm just going to expand it and make sure that's only the top of the box, only the side of the box, only the side. So you're just making sure that all your seams are closed in and you don't have any leaking out. Kind of like if you're using a paint program and you do flood fill, and all of a sudden your whole picture turns the color you've just filled in. It would do the same thing with this. It would just throw up it would select all of the planes. Now that we've done that, we can get started on unwrapping this. So selecting the seams is kind of the most tedious part, and unwrapping is fairly simple. So when we unwrap, we're actually going to take each of these seams and put it on a flat plane. For this chest, we select a polygon. I'm actually going to select the sides first. We expand that selection, and then you use the quick peel. This one works really well for most cases. It makes some great decisions on what it should be. If not, we can kind of tweak some stuff, but typically it does really well for us. I'm going to click it. A window's going to open. Takes a little bit. There it is. And notice how it flattened that out for us. Now all the other pieces are nice rectangles, which that's why we use the seam, and the peel is so we can peel it in the shape that we want. So right now that's that left edge side, so we're going to choose the other side. Expand out. If you don't expand out, it'll just flatten out that one piece that you've got selected, and that's what we don't want. So we're going to expand out, then quick peel. Okay. As we do this, it moves everything around. Now the cool thing is, as it's moving them around, you can actually zoom out and move these anywhere you want them, even outside of here for now, temporary, if you need, as you're learning to pack. Because what we're going to do later is we're going to pull stuff out and then drag it in, so we have a nice compact image. And so let's come back to over here. I'm going to shrink this window up a little bit. There we go. And so we've done the left and the right side. Let's do the bottom. The bottom's pretty easy. It's just a rectangle. When we peel it, notice how it takes it from a square to a rectangle, so it actually fits. Now here's the neat thing. So we don't know what these pieces are over here, but if you click a piece, it'll highlight the polygon in your piece that it's a part of. So we know that this piece right here is part of this front of this chest. We can expand out, and we can peel. Notice how it gives it the shape that we want it to. Let's do the other side. Expand out, and then peel it. Okay. So we've got this shape, which is the one side, and this one. And when you lay these out, I know it's making some great decisions here, and it's working them out and putting them in like we want them. But you can always, if you know, let's say, so this is declared to be the front of our chest right here. This piece. So that's your front. You would expect that this side would be left over here, and that works out pretty well. So front, left side over here, all of these. The right side would be the other one. And then the rear, if you actually selected all of these, you could drag it up top there if you had enough room. But we don't, so we're going to leave it there. Besides, the next peel that we do, when we peel this top, is going to move things around again. So we'll have to do that over. So I'm going to choose this piece, expand. Notice how here it's in 3 sections. one of these sections, most likely this one, is this piece across the top, which it is. It is way not the right shape that we want. We not want a long, narrow rectangle. Well, this is a square. Well, when we expand this out and select everything and peel it, it turns it into that shape that we want. And once we have that, we actually can move these pieces around to where they would line up, and you can zoom in and get them there. But don't stress on that too much. We're not going to worry about that at the moment. So I'm just going to undo this, put it back there. So these are the selections that it made, the really good selections. We can always rearrange this if we want, and sometimes you do want that, because right now you'd have to grab the front of the chest, and you can, this image you can paint it. You can take this image into a paint program as a template, which we're going to do next chapter, next unit, and we're actually going to paint these to create the images. And so that being the bottom, you'd want that all wood here. You'd want wood here. Then you could you can either paste in or paint, draw in the metal, put the metal here, wood, metal. And so we really now have a great UV unwrapped version of our chest. You can save the UVs. That's a really good thing to do. We can save them and then use them later if we need to, or pull them in. I'm actually going to call these chest UVW. Okay, but we don't need that anymore. We're finished with this video, this section. So make sure that you do. If you do save that, if you don't, it's going to save it with your max file. But you might want to use this, have it somewhere else so you can recover it, maybe if you would need to. That's not necessary, but I did it just to be safe. We're going to close this out. Now, if you ever need to see that UV editor, you can always open UV editor, and it'll pop up. And there it goes for us. Okay. So make sure you do save. File, save as. I'm going to save this as chest unwrapped, or unwrap, and that's it. We now have a chest that we can paint and add some textures to, and we'll work with that later on. Our next project is going to be unwrapping a more complex shape than this one, but there it is. I'll see you guys next session, and hope you have a great day. Make sure you do save. Also, during the process of this, make sure you're saving every few steps with a suffix 1, 2, 3. That way, just in case it crashes, that you're safe. Because I'd really don't want you to have to start over again. All right, y'all have a great day, and we'll see you.